Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Wednesday, March 21st, and we've got some tavern brawls to do. We've got some daily quests that we need to do. Let's see. I guess we've got a little bit of a rogue overlap and a spells, which maybe the rogue would play 40 spells, but it's not highly likely depending on what this tavern brawl is. If this is a tavern brawl that just gives you all spells, if we got that lucky, then let's see. Portals are tearing open everywhere. What lies beyond is something strange yet familiar. Choose a class to start with a few cards, then choose a portal type to fill up the rest of your deck. Okay, well, rogue will get us the rogue victory, and then maybe we'll be able to choose like a mage class to fill up the rest of our deck, and then hopefully get a victory. And today would be kind of an ideal day to go through an accelerated experience. GDC is still going on, and because of that, there's not a significantly large amount of news. There is some important things certainly to talk about, a couple things, but not a large amount, unless some large bit of information comes out in the duration of this stream. I don't have a lot to talk about because I spent yesterday mostly shopping at a closing, not Toys R Us, but Babies R Us, that was right next door to a Toys R Us. And oddly, the Babies R Us did have, let's see, tech portal, 20 tech portals in your deck, swarm portals, or mind portals. Let's go with mind. Those sound like spells. What is a random mind card? Interesting. I would have thought a Babies R Us wouldn't have any toys or very early age toys, but it seems like some of the overstock items had been moved over there. Of course, I'm not buying toys for myself. I'm buying them as gifts. Although I did buy a stuffed hot dog squishable doll that amused me for myself, but that was the only thing. But I imagine when Toys R Us decides to close in my area, which who knows, it seems it's very random. I would recommend, if you're in the United States, to go see your local Toys R Us and just ask the workers when that's going to happen, because it seems pretty random. Like when it starts to go on liquidation, I was thinking of getting a bunch of Legos, and that was probably it. As one who only buys their games on Steam, I don't really have any reason to buy video games from Toys R Us. But if you buy console games, this would be the perfect time to go to a liquidation and see if you can get any of those cheaply. But I would imagine that console games aren't going to be discounted very much, because there's a GameStop, I imagine, or a like used video game store that would be more than happy to buy out inventory and sell a game as new. Like GameStop's new, whether a game is new or used in a GameStop particularly is kind of a major fallacy, because they always take the games out of the case, and therefore the only real measurable increment to prove that something was new has already been eliminated. None of these are turning into spells. Guess I don't want to cast any more spells. Or maybe I do. Let's hit this one. And then that one. And then that one. And then it'll probably save me some time to do that. Being older, being an adult, Toys R Us and Babies R Us, which I didn't even know Babies R Us was closing. I thought they were separate companies, but it must vary between stores. Or this was simply an instance where there was a store closing for a completely unrelated reason. I mean, I'm certainly past the prime in which this would have been an amazing thing. I recall when I believe it was a Target, or no, it wasn't Target. It was a store franchise that was like Target, not as much a superstore as what you would see in a Walmart superstore by modern times, but it was a pretty large department type store for its time. And then I think the entire franchise went out of business, and I recall going to it and getting some decent sales, but this was in the middle of the Pokemon craze that went on for decades and is still going on at a certain point. So I think the most I really collected as I was collecting Nintendo things was a bunch of Pokemon stuff, and not even really that much. Plus, I'm not 100% sure in that instance that the stores were really selling anything. And then the problem with the next store that I recall, a franchise that shut down, which there's been quite a few over the decades, was Circuit City. And there really wasn't too much that was heavily discounted at Circuit City, because Circuit City was pretty notorious for not having good quality electronics at a good price to begin with. So like I don't think I ever even went to a store to buy when it was going out of business. But not to say that Best Buy is any better. If you want to get electronics, you're much better going to like Newegg or Amazon, which the problem here is all of these big these storefronts now are getting replaced by Amazon, and Amazon is becoming the de facto monopoly, the new Walmart, and that's not what we need. We need more competition, not less. So it'd be nice if there was like a force of the breakup. That's what I would want, is force them to break up Amazon between its books dealings, its video dealings, its backup service dealings. Like if there was a breakup like they did the telephone company, it would be very nice. Particularly considering how Amazon's not really paying any taxes at all. Like literally, from what I'm hearing, is they're not paying any taxes whatsoever. so they're not contributing to society. Meanwhile, they're being allowed to create a monopoly and put other people out of business, and they're not creating anywhere as many jobs as they're probably eliminating. It's just that's a very complicated calculation to make. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see the end of all storefronts that have anything other than perishable items. Like, you're not going to immediately get rid of food stores, grocery stores, because people want to actually see their food. There's a wide variety of quality in some foods, and so that's just not something that would happen. But everything else is so built by machine and consistent in quality that you can buy an Xbox anywhere and it will be the same Xbox. You can buy clothes anywhere and it will be the same clothes. Looks like I'm gonna win here. So then the question is, do I want to continue playing the Tavern Brawl, or do I want to try to play some other rogue class on my Asian account that might work? Come to think about it, like, unless you want to get amiibos, or maybe some Disney Infinity stuff, if that's still on the shelves, you're really not going to get very many video game related toys at a Toys R Us. Like, there will be some Nintendo stuff, certainly. There will be let's see. There will be kinda it. Like, Halo Mega Bloks might still be getting sold. Oops, I should have attacked there. But yeah. Instead of selling toys with video games, they've gone to the special custom edition things that sell toys that way. And I doubt you'll find things like Funko Pop figures in a Toys R Us. If you wanted any of those. I hate the way the Funko Pops look. And you're not gonna get anything that you would find at like ThinkGeek. Which they have a few, at least Pokemon licenses of toys at ThinkGeek. But where's the Horizon Zero Dawn toys? None. Where's the Nier Automata toys? There almost certainly were some of those made in Japan. Just none of them made it to the West. Oh, I thought that was going to go on the other players. Shuffle minions into your opponent's deck. Let's play this first and then do this. Anyways, I guess that's enough meandering. Let's talk about the news. According to PC Gamer, Hitman's best level is free for a limited time. So, let's see. How does this work? I think. It's called the Hitman Spring Pack. It's free to download April from now to April 3rd. I guess you download it and you can play Hitman, the new Hitman in that part without doing the other sections.
That's not a valid target.
Let's see. Does he have any minions?
Here we go.
Gotta play. Yeah. They're still advertising Hitman. They're still trying to get people to play it, which is not a bad idea. Hitman seems like it's a very good game for what it is. It's just kind of a weird thing. I cannot believe I lost there. I guess good news though is that we are close to the halfway through with the spell cards, so that worked very well. PC Gamer has an article. The next card reveals for Hearthstone's The Witchwood will kick off next week, so they're gonna slowly trickle out the card reveals, which really screws up me doing recordings of talking about cards once all the cards are out. But honestly, I'm not willing to make 5 different videos talking about a reveal of 5 cards. Let's go with Swarm this time, since it doesn't seem like it matters.
The pleasure is mine.
This is a game called Naoui, N-A-N-O-U-I. It came out March 21st. What is it? It is a casual action RPG, indie violent. Looks like a dungeon crawler, side scroller, beat 'em up game. Yeah, not dungeon crawler. I'd say side scroller and beat 'em up. This doesn't look too bad so far. It's got an art style that's a little bit a generation or two behind, but it looks like a more zoomed in side scroller beat 'em up version of what Diablo might have been. Wow, really nice scene on this trailer where one of the guys is running with stained glass behind him. Now the guy's jumping through stained glass. Wow. Is this a one-player game? Yes. It's selling for $13. Nanoi. N-A-N-O-U-I. Nanui? Nanui? Is it French? Wow, this is one of the rare, slightly impressive games that I'm willing to wishlist and give at least a try. The problem has come up, and Jim Sterling talked about it in his latest video, that now that Steam is just completely and totally flooded with releases every day, it's gotten close to impossible for anybody to see any game as it's coming out. So curators can't see the game to curate them and write reviews, and Jim Sterling is not doing any better, if not potentially he may be doing worse than I am, just following what's on Steam, which is pretty much all you have to do, I think, or all you can do. is just follow that Twitter account and look at games. Certainly, one of the games that I talked about, Jim Sterling did a direct-to-video of 2 days later. Keep on playing. The developer and publishers for this game also made a game called Ativeil, A-T-I-V-I-E-L, V-E-I-L. It came out February 15th. It has 1 review, and like this game looks a little bit weirder, but doesn't look too bad. So I'm gonna wishlist that too. Like some of the stats are really crazy too. Like this game, Ativeil, has had an all-time peak of 3 people playing it at the same time. And this game came out February 15th, 2018. So people literally, I mean, it's not an exaggeration. Literally nobody is seeing it. Well, I guess it is the slightest of slight exaggerations to say literally no one is seeing it. But pretty much the vast majority of people going to Steam are not seeing new games at all. And this is creating a circular problem where games are not getting discovered, and thus people are going to try and flood Steam some more to try to get their games discovered. Thus, it's going to make the problem even worse. Steam really needs to install a cooldown. Every publisher, every developer can only release 1 game per month. That is realistic. You could still easily have hundreds of games released in a week, but not 300. Maybe you'd bring it down to 100, because there definitely are people out there that are releasing 3 or 4 games at the same time, at the same day, same instance. And that's what they need to cut back on. And it really wouldn't hurt any publisher, even a Ubisoft or Activision, which you wouldn't even really have to exempt them, because nobody is going to release more than 4 games in a month under any publishing, because you'd just be stepping on the toes of your own releases. Most publishers, I imagine, could easily get away with only releasing 1 game a month. But maybe if you have an indie title that is coming out the week after a big AAA title, you'd need 2 or 3. So if you give them a limit of 5 per month for the most well-known publishers, and 1 per month for brand new Steam Direct people, you just solved the problem. Sure, people could violate the terms of Steam and go and make a second account to publish their other game, but that doesn't really change too much because people could already do that. It's just going to make it easier to find and flag those people. Plus, if you to make a Steam account and become and publish something on Steam Direct, I imagine you have to put in credit card information to get your money, address information, name information, things that would have to be at least moderately correct. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to A, pay the entrance fee, or B, receive any income for people who purchase the game. And I imagine what Valve is trying to do is they're trying to see if it will just fix itself, which it might in the long run. After years, potentially, I could see people realizing and wising up and just saying it's not worth it to even pay the $100 to release on Steam Direct because you won't get $100 back. But that doesn't stop the new person who thinks they actually are going to make money through Steam Direct, which there will always be deluded people out there, and it's going to take way too long and hurt Valve's store front before then. Let's see. PC Gamer has an article. Pathway is an Indiana Jones style pulp adventure with turn-based. It's a pulp adventure with turn-based combat. You know what's funny is, for all the Indiana Jones point-and-click adventure games, a turn-based action combat system would have been a good thought. I don't know if they really knew at the time how to program towards that, and that's probably why they didn't make them that way. But yeah, I could see playing Indiana Jones' story and just getting into several fights, or if not in a consistent grind of fights. I don't know. I thought I had seen Pathway before, and it didn't look that interesting. But I guess maybe what I saw before was just some screenshots, and some bad screenshots at that, because this looks a little bit better. Like, it's caught my attention. I am a somewhat fanboy as far as Indiana Jones happens. They're making an Indiana Jones 4 movie. Well, they're not making it yet, but they're going to make one, or they're planning on doing it. Don't worry, Shia LaBeouf won't be coming back. I had the thought, since Harrison Ford is pretty old now, I mean, he was pretty old from the day one of the Indiana Jones series, but he's really, really old now. I think what you do, if you're smart with Indiana Jones 4, is you've got to recreate and do better than what The Last Crusade did. So, I assume you were not going to fight the Nazis. And because of that, we're going to be ahead in time to the Russians, like in Indiana Jones 4. So, I think you have Indiana Jones effectively be the father, and we already know Indiana Jones has a son, so I think you have to recast Mutt from being Shia LaBeouf into a older person, like somebody who looks close to the age of Indiana Jones, close to Indiana Jones's age and Harrison Ford's age in the first movie, The Ark of the Covenant. And then you do a similar Last Crusade thing where Indiana Jones can be tied up and kidnapped for a significant portion of the movie, and have the son looking for him, and you do an homage, and then you do some twists, and you throw in some other homages. You do something crazy. I'd like to see an Indiana Jones story that goes around into different locations a little bit more than most of the movies. The Temple of Doom stayed in one area after the first scene that's in, like, China. The Ark of the Covenant is in a couple different areas, but they look mostly like a bar in Siberia and a desert. Maybe you could get, I don't know if that guy died. There was one of the actors, the one with the monkey that said bad dates in Ark of the Covenant. Like, he may have died a few years back. Otherwise, I'd bring him back. I'd bring back any actors you could get. This really needs to be the last hurrah for Indiana Jones 4. And you need to clearly do everything in your power and the best writers you can hire to make people happy, to call Mutt, Indiana Jones's son, the new Indiana Jones. And there needs to be a passing of the torch. Excuse me. Unlike in Star Wars Episode 7, where Han Solo as a character didn't really need to have any kids, like, because you can have a roguish hero archetype, which is all that Han Solo really is, in any character. So you can introduce somebody new in episode 8 or 9 or 10 or 11 or 50 of Star Wars. They can be a roguish hero and have nothing to do with Han Solo. Plus, I would say Star Wars is such a large space opera story that there's room a lot to go tell somebody else's story in the same universe, whereas Indiana Jones is really just Indiana Jones. Like, you really don't know anything else, like, about the world. I personally also would like to see Indiana Jones fix the major problem with his character, because Indiana Jones in this fictional story world starts off as kind of a hardcore, obnoxious atheist, doesn't believe in God, doesn't believe in miracles, doesn't do any of that. And then he sees an Ark of the Covenant, pretty definitive proof of something. And I wouldn't be upset with, but I imagine most audience people would. I wouldn't be upset if all of Indiana Jones 4 was just Indiana Jones testifying about what he's seen to a open public like congressional report. Because as a scientist, as an archaeologist, he's just not reporting the facts. Like, he hides what would have been the most important discovery ever away from society. And like, lets the government just hide it and cover it up. And then he does the exact same thing in Temple of Doom, because he sees evidence of another God, not the biblical Judeo-Christian God. He sees Kali exists, and he doesn't report it. He doesn't, like, the world outside of Indiana Jones does not get told about any of these adventures. So, like, you have to go one way or the other at this point and say that Indiana Jones is actually a member of the Illuminati, and that's the reason why he's not revealing any of his discoveries and just screaming it from the rooftops, or you need to resolve that and have him come out and say, these are my experiences, even if nobody believes them. I think that would be a great way to end it, is to have at least a powerful scene where Indiana Jones just says, it's time for me to speak. I'm going to tell the world about it, and then nobody believes him. That's fine. But it's just the most obnoxious type of religious dogmatic holding to your desire to not believe in gods when you see evidence of gods. Like, hard to argue against evidence. Although I would say Indiana Jones 4 adds in this twist of there being an interdimensional alien that has magical powers that is mistaken for gods, that could retroactively say, well, maybe the Ark of the Covenant was just some alien device. But it doesn't matter. At the very least, you could say, as a scientist, I've seen these supernatural things, and I should report them, and we should study them and try to find out more about it. Like every single movie, he sees something incredibly supernatural and then does not report it to anybody whatsoever. There's several people on the chat, so I wanted to. We have a Russian name saying hi. Lemon Lover says, I have subscribed for the lemons. Lemon Lover seemed to subscribe to my channel twice. I don't know if you accidentally unsubscribed and then subscribed again or what, because the report I got back is that you subscribed once and then like a day later subscribed again. Lemon Lover says, but it's a movie. Yeah, it's a movie. Totally. I get that it's a movie. But I think the Indiana Jones episodic movie, now 5-pin trilogy, I guess is what you would call it, would be the 5 movie or chronology. Maybe no, like all those movies felt like they were happening in the same universe and connected. But they never really gave you any indication that no, it's just a actor named Indiana Jones doing one story and then the other. And certainly the Indiana Jones TV series was very episodic, and so in the 5th movie, when they're making it, I think they have to move the story forward. And the fact that he never reports what he finds is the main part that bugs me about Indiana Jones. I mean, you can certainly be critical too that in the Last Crusade is a little too similar to the Ark of the Covenant movie, but it's better written, so it's a good iteration on trying to tell what is roughly the same story. Temple of Doom, on the other hand, is a pretty different story than Ark of the Covenant, and that helps it too, which you would think that they were intentionally doing an A-B pacing where one movie was going to be Judeo-Christian artifacts and one movie was going to be non-Judeo-Christian artifacts. I could almost guarantee you, if they're going to cynically make Indiana Jones 5, that we are going to go against some kind of Chinese thing, just because they'll want to get Indiana Jones 5 to be in theaters in China to make a bunch of money. That being said, the Chinese censorship limitations on fantasy and fictional movies and foreign movies in general still might not let it in. So, but I can almost certainly guess that it will be some ancient Chinese thing that anybody not from China will not really recall or recognize. That is another thing you could also nitpick Indiana Jones for, is that he seems to be this expert in every form of history, and he seems to not really specialize in much of anything. He's just an expert in everything, which would not be consistent with a real archaeologist or researcher. Like somebody who knows a lot about Judeo-Christian artifacts would not really know too much about like the Temple of Doom Kali artifacts. Lemon Lover says, "Oh no, it was twice. I would sub 10 times if I could." Yeah. Well, I imagine, Lemon Lover, to comment on that, is while I would love for people to go to their local computer labs and see if anybody left their YouTube logged in and subscribe to my channel, or get all their friends to subscribe to my channel even if they're not going to watch it, if you blatantly are subscribing to channels with 2 accounts, that's probably going to get caught and flagged pretty quickly by YouTube, and in the long run it's probably going to hurt my channel because there's all kinds of little secret unsubscriptions that YouTube is always doing, to the point where at least 50% of the time when somebody does subscribe to my channel, the algorithm is programmed to unsubscribe some dead accounts or bad accounts that they don't want to count anymore. And they're actively trying to make sure that channels can't get up to 1,000 subscribers so that they can't be monetized, and only the channels that can really power through that manipulation and chicanery are gonna ever succeed on YouTube. And the sad point is that any of the channels that are just stealing content, you know, just putting up somebody else's content, they've already got 1,000 subscribers. So only the people that are really trying to make original content even get punished by that. But let's see, Lemon Lover says it's just 1 account. I mean, well, the other thing is there's a bug. If you subscribe, then unsubscribe, then subscribe. There used to be a bug, and it may still be around because YouTube never fixes this. If you unsubscribe from somebody, they may unsubscribe you from more than one person at random. So it was a really nasty bug where if you hated somebody's YouTube channel, you could just get a bunch of people to go subscribe, unsubscribe, subscribe, unsubscribe, and just loop it back and forth, and their subscription number would just go down and down and down and down. And you could use that bug to just ruin somebody's channel, so you shouldn't do that either. Like, subscribe once, leave it subscribed. Ever since the demonetization of small YouTube channels, I've just started subbing to almost anybody I see that is making original content. I've found people that have like 1 video and 2 subscribers, and I'll subscribe to them. And the thing is, it's not even a bad thing that will mess up your subscription feed on YouTube. As long as you don't subscribe to somebody who posts a bunch of obnoxious things, somebody who only puts up a video once a year, you subscribe to him, you'll see his video once a year. That's not really a problem. I get way more videos from, well, I imagine people like me, my channel pushes out a significant amount of videos daily. So that's about the only people I can think of that would. Because yeah, I'm putting out 4 or 5 episodes of different shows daily, but it's all very easy to ignore, I find. It's let's see. The Lemon Lover said, I subbed yesterday. Today, subscribe will be clickable again, so why wouldn't I click it again? I mean, come on. That's not how it works. Hashtag will donate for lemons. That's not how it works at all. There's something wrong with your website or your browser. You just click subscribe once and you're supposed to stay subscribed on YouTube channels. It's not like Twitch where you subscribe and then you're unsubscribed a month later and you have to subscribe again. and on Twitch you're paying money to subscribe. Like, there's something wrong with your browser. It should say subscribed after you're subscribed to something. Moving on, there's a game called Mother Simulator. It's probably not going to be good, but oddly, it is rated 96 out of 31 reviews positive. Came out March 20th. I wonder if this is just a early access cheap ripoff of the father keeping the baby alive co-op game that was popular. What is that one called? Well, actually, this looks better than that game. The graphics may not be as good. And first-person perspective, you run around trying to clean a house and take care of a baby, it seems. Let's see. It's single player instead of online co-op like the other game. Early access. They want $1.60 for it. I wouldn't get this game right now, but if there actually is a single player experience here, this would be a very interesting game to play. Depending on how silly it is. Like, so I just saw in the video they picked up a baby and they threw it out the window and lost 10 points for that. And they're throwing things all over the house. And they're being very silly about it. And they just threw the baby in the toilet. Mother Simulator. I was about to wishlist it, but I've decided not to. 3 packs earned. Now, they're going to start doing a thing Monday. Apparently, the reward this week was 3 packs. They're going to start doing a thing to help people catch up, where starting Monday, every single one of these daily quests is going to give you another pack. So, starting Monday, I think between Monday and the 30th, or maybe until the next expansion, you are going to want to get as many daily quests as possible done. This isn't going to change my streaming schedule any, but I may spend one day near the end of that time frame just playing to make sure I get all of the daily quests. Getting Kobolds and Catacombs packs, not a bad idea, helping build up my Asian account a little bit. Hearthstone Deck Tracker, the app that shows what cards there are, has a new thing in collaboration with hsreplay.net where you can upload your collection and it will tell you the best deck that you have. In fact, Hearthstone Deck Tracker just said collection updated, which that's not going to work very well with multiple accounts, I suspect. But so 7 commons were duplicated. And let's see what new cards we got. We got 1 of those. Now we have 2 of those, 1 of those, and 1 of those. Still missing a significant amount of cards from Kobolds and Catacombs, but not to be surprised since my Asian account and my European account are mostly just going to be focused around getting classic cards that are missing. Things like this. Like, I totally should have that, but I don't, and I'm not going to purchase it right now because in the next expansion we'll try and make try to open 50 classic packs. So now I just kind of need rogue victories, and I may just get like 1 rogue victory and then move on to the European account because I know there isn't a ton of news. Let's try to get some standard victories while we're playing. If there was a mother/fatherhood simulator where you actually had to do the physical actions of raising the kid. So no fictional story where you have a baby but the baby never needs diapers changed or baths or to be fed or anything like that. But it didn't take it as a joke. I'd be very interested in playing that game. But I think a lot of that also needs to have a good story and that only be part of it. There are games like Sheltered where you play as a mother animal and you're trying to protect your young. I think you'd want to do something like that. And it's kind of odd that they haven't done a game like that, since it would be an easy, cheap pop for emotional ties. I guess The Last of Us with Ellie, she was kind of that. The Walking Dead with the girl in the Walking Dead, Telltale's Walking Dead game, was kind of like that, but they all conveniently skip the age up for them to be teenagers, so that you're not actually having to care for them in a lot. Oh, the other thing about Motherhood Simulator is there's one of the screenshots is the baby being put in the shower or bathtub, and they censored the baby's, the male boy's genitals, but they made sure to put the censorship in frame. I'm like, okay, you could have redone the screenshot if you, one way or the other. Let's see. Lemon Lover says, I know maybe there are too many lemons clogging up the system, That's what I thought too. Maybe it was Destiny that led me to sub twice. Yeah. There's too much something clogging up YouTube system. I think I would call it BS, not lemons. It doesn't smell fresh. All these lemon obsessed people are gonna get me to make lemon puns too. Is this how lemon people do it? They just start talking about lemons forever, and then everybody just hops on board and starts speaking like them. Let's see. Lemon Lover, how old are you in lemon years? Yeah. Haha, so true. BS, not lemons. There's a game called Relaxicon that looks like it is some kind of crazy Scrabble-ish game where it's nonograms, I believe, where you have these letters all over your screen and you put them in order to see what kind of spellings you can get. There are no user reviews. This came out March 6th. Relax Lexicon and ET is written on the logos, but it's just called Relaxicon. It looks good, actually. That's the weird part about a lot of these is these games look like they're worth playing. He wants $1.60. Maybe that's the problem, is nobody's willing to put in the effort, and he's probably lying about it being rated by the ESRB for everyone. Valve needs to not use the ESRB logos for games that, well, probably for all of them. I imagine what you would do better to, you would do much better to just have your own system that took the information from the ESRB and put it in its own display system. That way games, the vast majority of games on Steam that aren't rated by the ESRB don't steal the icon or can't use the icon even if they wanted to. Let's see. Moving on. Gematsu has an article. Hirogashi no Neku Koro ni How is coming to Switch July 26 in Japan. Which I'm not going to bother to spell all of that, but it's a 2004 release PC visual novel coming to consoles. The animation is pretty bad looking. And it's selling for about 8,000 yen or $80. So it must have caught some people's attention with the story because it's the visuals. Also being from 2004, that's, you know, it's 2018 now. That's many generations of what visual novel / anime fans would have been, and what they want has probably changed significantly too. Let's see, do I have enough to wake this guy up? Finally. This guy's not the best. Let's see. There's a link here to tell more about the game. And it doesn't really tell me too much. Zoom in on this page. Why is this page text so small? Blah 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 blah. This might simply be coming out to the Switch because it was just a cheap license. That's the best I can tell. Seems like a really odd thing to do, but it does represent something more than you might expect, because this is probably the first visual novel going to the Switch. There also are rumors that there might be a new version of the Switch with twice the amount of RAM and a slightly newer CPU that would really not be any faster, just have some security features so that you couldn't jailbreak it as easily. I've heard those rumors. I don't know how you sell a Switch version 2. I think you probably just still call it the Switch and hope people forget about it. Let's see. In sharp contrast, Clannad, a very well-known anime, manga, and visual novel series, and Island are coming to the PS4 in June in Japan. So, Clannad will launch on June 14th. Island will release on, well, they say Juen, Juen, on this article, but they mean June 28th. Gosh, people don't even spell check anymore. It's ridiculous. Oh man, I keep forgetting to play this card. So Clannad is very popular, but it also is still like not as old as 2004 animation style and story style, but it's still at least a couple generations old, and bringing it to the PS4 instead of the Vita is just kind of Japan's way of saying we can't support the Vita anymore. Let's see. Lemon Lover says, gonna avoid the lemon age question, A. Just curious. I don't even know the transition there, but also I don't tell out my age or personal information like that. Particularly, like, with all this delete Facebook and, oh, Facebook's been stealing our privacy, like it's been saying it's been doing for since the day one drama. Like, my main thing about not giving out personal information is I don't think anybody should give it out, because there's too many trolls out there that will try to get you swatted. And that is my number one concern, is that somebody's going to try and find out who I am and get the SWAT team to attack my house and shoot me dead. And it is crazy that that potentially could happen. But it can, and it has happened. Let's see. Can I play all of these cards? I hope I can. I'm going to return this guy to his hand. That way.
I don't have enough mana.
Let's see. Let's see. Lemon Lover says, well, I'm 29 in lemon years. Fair enough. Fact, trolls galore. Yep. Yeah, it would be nice if the entire internet was just full of wholesome trolling. like the Lemon Lovers. Which I would call you a lemon troll. Certainly. But he's not doing anything offensive. Maybe, to be fair and fair warning, like, if my channel ever got big enough that there was thousands of people scrolling down the chat and I had a mod, I'd probably let a mod mute Lemon Lover, because what he's talking about is irrelevant things, and if there isn't a rule on the chat right now that says don't talk about irrelevant things, or there is a rule that says video game talk only, I'm just not enforcing that rule that strictly right now. On the other hand, somebody like Lemon Lover might get the rest of the chat to talk about some things, anything, and inherently doing live streams every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, it's hard to find things to talk about. I always found that in school, you had plenty of the stuff to talk about after summer break. You had a decent amount of stuff to talk about by the time you were near the winter break holidays. But by that time you were about ready to graduate, maybe a month or two before then, you'd mostly talked about everything you wanted to talk about, and you were done with the vast majority of people you had been talking to anyways. So so there's a limited number of things you can discuss, certainly, until you end up talking about the weather. Let's see. Just gonna wait on this one. Lemon Lover said okay, sorry. Yeah. Right now, since you're the only one on the chat, you can say whatever you want. I'm just saying, in some fictional thing 5 years from now, when there's thousands of chat messages scrolling up by the screen, that's where chat will have to change. And that's where the whole super chats come in, and you get to this point where you're so big as a YouTuber, you're demanding people give you money just so you respond to them, which is so contradictory to what makes you a big popular YouTuber in the first place. Is like, you totally have to engage with your audience. So to say you're too good to engage with your audience is crazy, but there's really no other system that is implemented into YouTube to help with that. Let's see. Looks like he's setting up for this the standard mage trick, where he plays Archmage Arcadinus or whatever his name is and gets infinite number of fireballs. Lemon Lover says, well, goodbye, Rydo. I've got to head out for now, and glad to see you in Lemony Hearthstone Ventures. May many wins fill your day. Bye, Lemon Lover. Thanks for coming on. Next story we have is Fire Emblem adds hares at the fair. Heroes Katria, Serena, Alphonse, and Cabrero. And it's like an Easter heroes for Fire Emblem Heroes, which is weird. Fire Emblem Heroes is it on the Switch or is it a cell phone game? It looks like it's a cell phone game. And it's like 4 characters in bunny ears. Yeah, the Fire Emblem Heroes is a cell phone game. So this is their Easter thing. It's a little weird for a Japanese company to try to do an Easter tie-in. They usually don't, because of the many Western holidays that they don't know about. Easter is probably the least known that I've ever, like, I've never heard of a Japanese company or business saying anything about Easter. They love to eat KFC chicken on Christmas, because when people, foreigners who wanted to eat a turkey or something for Christmas couldn't find it, they would go to KFC, and then the Japanese liked that idea and copied it. But I've never heard them do anything with Easter. They do Valentine's Day and White Day, which is a kind of like a boys' version of Valentine's Day. So on Valentine's Day, the boys are supposed to give girls chocolates, and on White Day, girls are supposed to give boys chocolates. They don't have too many other Western holidays in Japan, though, because they have so many of their own Shinto and Buddhist holidays that they do. They have a thing called Golden Week, where there's just like a whole week of holidays that they take off from work and school. But I couldn't for the life of you tell you what the holidays are for. Chinese New Year probably gets celebrated pretty well. Regular New Year certainly gets celebrated everywhere, almost. But hearing that they would do an Easter thing probably was just a convenient excuse to put some bunny ears on people, which, let's face it, the Japanese do like to put bunny ears on characters, but I don't think it has anything to do with Easter. They just think bunnies are cute, and they think anime girls and guys in bunny ears are cute. Moving on, PC Gamer has an article, Cabals, the most fascinating mess of a card game that nobody played. After a long road of Kickstarter failures, mobile ports, and not safe for work art, a full version of Cabals is finally on Steam. I want to see this not safe for work art. Why you're gonna reference not safe for work art and not link it to me. I guess this is my job, so I guess one of the best things about running your own business is that you get to define what's not safe for work for yourself. Let's see. Okay, here we go. There's one screenshot here of some kind of water nymph or dryad or something that has basically no clothes on except for moss growing over on top of her to cover up a few specific bits.
Here we go.
Well, you can definitely tell if you're going sleazy in any production and your first thought wasn't a passionate love and desire to make your game sleazy in the first place. You know you failed because you're cynically approaching it. If somebody wanted to make a collectible card game with not safe for work artwork in every single card, I got no problem with that whatsoever. It would be a really stupid idea because most card games are played in groups with people, so that would lead to potential embarrassment. A lot of card game play happens in comic book stores that they want to stay family friendly, so I can imagine there's them saying no to that card game too. So it wouldn't be a financially smart thing, but it would be alright. And it's not unheard of for there to be a few Magic the Gathering cards that are risque artwork at the least. And the Japanese versions of the cards for Yu-Gi-Oh! On some instances had a slight risqueness to them. But nothing really too extreme. I seriously doubt the Pokemon card game had anything risque about it. And Hearthstone's never gonna do anything like that. Well, this is a slightly interesting retrospective on a failed game, but is it really worth anybody's time to even read it? Because this also is still just a PC Gamer advertisement for a Kickstarter game. So the last paragraph here is, it's nice to see Cabal's come back for real, and yet this doesn't feel like a good time to start playing. Has a good time ever existed? I wonder. I don't know. I still want to hope. I'll stick around for now because I still love this game to bits. I only wish Cabals would love me back. The way Cabals is played seems crazy too. It's not your standard Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, Hearthstone layout. But I guess it's free to play if you wanted to go check it out. Let's see. Gonna hit this and this and this and then end the turn. It's like playable through Adobe Flash or on Steam. Let's go to the Steam store. It's 70% mostly positive, and it's early access free to play game, and the starter bundle is $10. You know, because it's a card game and there aren't too many of those, I will follow, or yeah, I guess I'll follow it, not wishlist it. It looks like part of the problem with any card game is you need to have a major company backing it. You just can't go it alone. Because you need that funding to help you what's the word? Help you consistently create content and new cards. Hearthstone, it has all Blizzard, Activision Blizzard behind it, and even Hearthstone slightly struggles to introduce as many cards as some people would probably like. I think they do a good job probably of not adding a bunch of junk cards, whereas I would argue maybe Magic is more consistently adding and remaking junk cards that they don't care what the balance of the game is really, because they can just change the tournament rules whenever they feel like it, and bring back or ban anything that they don't like. We're going real late, so I'm gonna wrap up this recording. I should have done that like 2 or 3 games ago. We're at rank 21, and we are not getting those victories. This has been a problem ever since the new balance changes happened. And that seems crazy because that then brings up the thought that the only reason I was succeeding at all in Hearthstone is because I was getting inaccurately matched with much lower players than when I was playing against. There's a leak out that ancient Greece is going to be the next location for the next Assassin's Creed game. I suppose that works fine. Like, it makes a lot of sense with all the statues that they put in Egypt. You're gonna have to write some kind of story there, because if you're not careful, what you're gonna accidentally do is set the game in ancient Greece and then have everything act as if everybody talk and act as if they are Julius Caesar. And that's not gonna work. You're gonna need some just regular, normal people in the game. Somewhat related to that, PC Gamer has an article that says the NPCs in Assassin's Creed Origins are more goal-oriented than most of us ever will be. Programmer explains how AI goals helped Ubisoft Montreal stop making annoying escort missions. So, the idea, I imagine, was instead of having a mission from an NPC asking you to escort or help them get from one place to the other, or go to a place and kill one person, they decided to think of some different metrics and things they could do. And for them, from what I've heard of the reviews, that is, they succeeded at doing that. Instead of doing side missions that are obviously just busy work, you get side missions that are a little bit more substantive. Unfortunately, side missions like that are never going to feel great, and that is certainly a problem. They need to they're never going to be as good as the story missions. And oddly, I haven't really heard of anybody really talking too much about the story in Assassin's Creed Origins, so it must not be too much. Anyways, we're already late, so this is the right place for me now to end this recording. Stay tuned if you're watching live. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, There's a whole bunch of links down below in the description. If you want to support me, gift me something on Steam. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.